Hi, this is Rachel, speaking to you now. Please do not drive or operate any machinery whilst listening to this audio. Some of the things I speak about may be triggering. Please make sure you are in a safe frame of mind to continue. This is not intended to be medical or mental health advice, and I am not a certified mental health professional. In the case of an emergency, please contact your local resources. Reflections on a suicide attempt. Was macht man, wenn man das Leben mit Absicht fast abgeschlossen hat? Dann kommst du wieder zurück nach Hause und was? Alles ist wieder normal. What do you do when you've almost ended your life on purpose? Then you go back home and what? Everything is normal again? No, it most certainly is not normal. So fuck normal right out the window. Attempted suicide is a life-altering experience. And I'm not saying that the change is positive. Life after a suicide attempt sucks. And what sucks more is that there is no manual for how to deal with it. So you fall back into your old routines within weeks of the attempt. And you go to therapy. You try to process what happened. You try not to read the poem you wrote, the raw poem that blatantly laid out your trauma, exposed and ugly, the poem that, upon listening to it over and over again, put you over the edge and drove you to want to kill yourself. Gosh, she must be a good writer, they might say, if one single poem evoked that much emotion. But if I'm dead, it won't matter how good of a writer or a poet I might be. Because death, it's final. It's the period at the end of a life sentence. It's the hurt you can't take back. It's the dry wishing well full of rusted pennies that with every toss gave you a sense of false momentary hope. It's the reunion with your dead grandmothers in the afterlife, though still not proven. You hope there is peace and consciousness after the body has expired. But you don't know for sure, and you really don't care, because the whole purpose of death by suicide is simply to end the unbearable pain. And the pain in the wake of that one poem, and the next one after it, the pain is so unbearable. So stop writing then, if your poems make you want to kill yourself. Or write different poems. But somehow I can't. For what I write is the truth. And in those moments, the truths and the horrors of what happened to me were married to my psyche until death do us part. But I can step away. And I have. I've stepped away. 4 days separate me from my suicide attempt at the bridge. Next time, do you know what I suggest? I suggest skipping the bridge and going straight to the emergency room. One remark from the medical records of my ER visit stood out to me, laughing inappropriately. But when you're in a busy emergency department where patient overflow means hospital beds in the hallways, you better suck up too and try to laugh with your one-on-one sitter and your nurse. Because if you want water or a snack, the stressed out staff members are the people you have to rely on for your basic needs. So I will laugh inappropriately all I want, if it gets me what I need. 4 days later, and I'm sitting in my home, still wondering if I need to go back to the hospital so they can forcibly keep me alive. Because I'm not yet ready to stay safe on my own outside of the hospital walls. There is no manual on how to survive post-suicide attempt. But I sure as hell know I'm not alone. Since I didn't become a suicide statistic, well, I simply remain as a suicidal person that's still breathing, struggling to live, struggling to navigate the complex post-traumatic stress disorder which weaseled its way into the neural networks of my brain with every rape and every trauma repeated, and therefore solidified as the intrusive trauma memories which still from time to time flood my mind. I don't want it. I want it to go away. I want it to stop. I bloody well want it to stop. And sometimes it does. It stops, and I get a break. But the trauma is a burden I will always carry, which always finds its way back into my conscious mind. And it's the pain that I can't live with. I cannot bear the emotional pain. And one day, it might just take me away for good.